So we have Jaden Fernandez joining after, I don't think I saw him in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. If I did, I didn't see his game tag. But yeah, it's going to be a decent race. Had the race for Jules races for GRL, which were decent enough. I reckon the overall competitiveness, because there were some pretty decent close battles in GRL, but SRC, obviously it's got the heritage behind it, but it's also got the same drivers, and we know a lot of these drivers and what they're capable of, and they do go for things that make you question reality in terms of moves and little things. Is Lennon still a part of it? I think Lennon is a part of it. Catlow Racing. I think Lennon is a part of it. I'm not too sure though. That's in Twitch chat, by the way, for the people in the Discord. But we go into qualifying here. So we have 2 Alpines, 2 Mercedes. That is it for now. So we have, I think we have one of the Aston Martins coming out the pits. Yeah, that's a Mercedes of Nico coming out just ahead of one of the Alpines. I reckon that'll be, that's Dents. No, it's not. Who is it? It's one of the Alpines. It didn't let me go onto one of the Alpines, and it was Dents who is coming out onto his outlap now with Nico going up into turn 4 down the University straight through turn 4, and then round into the S's. I think there's a name for those S's, but I'm not too sure. I'll have a look actually in a bit. Well, coming out of turn 8 and into the curling turn 9. There's a yellow flag already, probably for traffic management. There's a red bull on Inters. I should probably get the track map on actually, like I normally do. That is one of the Alpines going slowly on tyre conservation. That is both Alpines out then. One of them's going down the straight, as you can see, into the 11th corner. That is Dents, who's doing oh wow, I thought he was losing the car. And no, he's just weaving in that number 2 Alpine. We have Vettel back on the grid, but it's not Sebastian Vettel, it's a different driver. I reckon that's not Callum Patterson, that will be Tom, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm being tagged. Oh, it's MCL. MCL is supposed to be a returning league, but meanwhile we have Nikos going into turn number 1 here at Sakir, down the main straight into the first corner. Very decent, trying to balance the traction as he heads through turn 2, and he does keep it nice and tidy, and down the University straight into turn 4. Round he goes through this new laser scan version of this corner, which is really tricky on rear end traction. The rear end kicks out, and it's like wrestling an octopus as Nico does a decent benchmark first sector. The 84 Mercedes coming out of turn 8. He's now coming up and approaching one of the Saubs. That'll be Oliver Beckett. Man, he's raced in many leagues like AOR and LOC, and more fittingly this league as well. I think the most races he's done in a league is in here, if I'm not mistaken. As we head through the S of Sakia. Apparently that's what that section's called, turn 11 and 12, but we head through purple sector 2 as well, because he's the only man who's gone through that sector. As Nico heading into the last corner, and outruns wide. He nearly invalidates, but he's on the limit of what is possible through that corner. Over the line for Nico, and it's a 27-3 for everyone else to beat. Next up will be one of the Alpines. That'll be Dents, who comes out of the last corner. Again, doing the same on the limit stuff out that last corner. Very textbook stuff out that last corner, but it doesn't give him any provisional pole position for now. Meanwhile, I think one of the Aston Martins. No, that'll be one of the Ferraris. No, that'll be... Who's the next one? It'll be one of the Alpines. Regaleco, the number 13 Alpine, coming through the S of Sakia. Up the hill and into turn 13. And then down the straight, which has a name which I've temporarily forgotten. We head into the final proper corner, then the little kink, and he's run wide and he's lost the car. He didn't invalidate, but that's because it didn't gain him any time. He goes over the line in the Alpine. There's the line, and it's at 30.9. As meanwhile, when the Mercedes going slowly, low on fuel, I reckon. Yep, low on fuel. It's one of the Red Bulls of RX, and on the intermediates, sliding with a 33.3. But meanwhile, I think Oliver Beckett's on a lap, and he's coming to end his lap round the last corner in that 56 Sauber. Oliver Beckett over the line. Goes P3 with a 30.0. He's 9/10 quicker than the Alpine behind him of Regaleco, but he is about half as. He's 1.5 seconds away from Dents. So that Alpine sandwich is something for him to salvage later on in this session. Meanwhile, when the Aston Martin's coming over the line, that will be Callum Patterson who goes over the line in that Aston Martin, and he goes behind the lower of the Alpines with a 1:31.4. Liam Martin Bradley, the OG champion, goes over the line with a 27.9, about 0.6 of a second behind Nico. Then comes one of the other Aston Martins. That will be Vettel, who takes pole position. AMR Vettel over the line, and he does a 360 to celebrate. And in the number 8 Aston Martin, number 8 formerly held by Roman Grosjean, now goes up the corner, which a number 8 car should fear most after 2020, as he lets the force feedback go. Heading round turn 4, and we'll see if we can catch anyone else who's on a lap. We'll catch Tristan, might be on a lap. He's trying to catch the Mercedes slipstream of, that will be Thomas Tornan Mackinnon even. We head up and over the hill through the S of Suzuka. Tristan, a bit tight heading through turn 13. He is pushing though, so I wonder what lap this will get him. As there's a yellow flag on the Aston Martins around. That will be AMR Vettel doing donuts and burnouts. Meanwhile, Tristan, he comes into the pits. He abandons that lap. Doesn't look like it meets the expectations of what he wanted to do. Meanwhile, Mr. Mika heads over the line in that V-Carb, and he goes 4th. He's about half a second away from Liam Martin Bradley, the double back-to-back champion of the first 2 seasons of this league, season 1 and season 2, and season 3. No, that was Thomas May. Never mind, made a mistake there. Meanwhile, we have on the Alpines going side by side with Aston Martin. They're both toying with each other here. Very comical stuff here by Regaleco. Meanwhile, and Wallin, Crushed has joined the session. I recognise Crushed. Is that from ALR potentially? Formerly owned by Thermiter, Jake Taylor, who used to be in this league. Season 1, 2, and season 8 are the champion seasons for Liam Martin Bradley. So the championship defender, that means. So the Ferrari of Liam Martin Bradley is the person defending his title here in SRC in season 9. As meanwhile, Tornan Mackinnon comes around the last corner. Little bit squirrely on the exit of 14, but then handles it through 15 as he goes over the line, and he takes pole by a staggering 0.06 of a second, I'm pretty sure that is. Let me go on the interval. That'll be at 63 thousandths of a second for Tornan Mackinnon. Meanwhile, I think one of the V-Carbs are coming into the pits. There's a Haas of Aaron Walling. He's about to end his lap. We'll go on board with the Ollie Behrman Haas, who goes over the line in P8. 3.1 seconds off the pace with a 130.1, was that? I think. Yes, 130.1, nearly 130.2, but 1,000th off that. There is a Red Bull now starting. That's Oryx Aurux even. So meanwhile we go up with Aaron Wallen. There's a yellow flag for one of the Williams cars who are doing some traffic management down the University Straight, which is that straight just before turn 4, according to a map. As meanwhile, half second up on his time is Dents. Dents putting a dent in his time, and he is purple in the second sector. According to the track map, he's about 2/10 up on his lap overall, out of the S of Sakia. And now down into the last corner, there's a yellow flag for a Mercedes, probably out of fuel. Underfueling around this track is pretty common for qualifying around this track, but down the main straight, the main start-finish line that determines the result, and his result goes up only 1 position ahead of the V-Carb with, forgot that time, I didn't see that. That was a 1:28.1 there. Meanwhile, we have Oliver Beckett on an out lap, we have AJ Walling on an in lap, we have both Aston Martins on cool down laps, we have the Red Bull of Aurux who's going past one of the slow Williams. That will be Tristan, the only Williams on the track, Tristan Nielsen, heading round the last 2 corners here. Well, it's numbered as 2 corners, but I'd call it 1. Anyway, heading over the line in the 77 Red Bull to P7 with a 1:28.6, 2/10 exactly off of Mr. Mika's time. As meanwhile, we have one of the Ferraris, I think has just started his lap. That is the defending champion, the 21 Ferrari. The man who used to drive a Mercedes when he won his first 2 titles. I'm pretty sure he won his 8th. Did he win his season 8 title with Ferrari? I'm going to check on the season standings if that is true or not. Dents is not on a lap, he's going slowly. One of the Aston Martins. No, let's go to Callum because he's the further into his lap, and he's 1.1 up. That will be a way more representative time, surely. No, Liam Martin Bradley, he was a Mercedes for his title. Yeah, for his title win. So all 3 of his title wins have been with the Mercedes, obviously. Towards the end of season 3, he went to Ferrari and was technically teammates with myself, who was a tier 2 Ferrari driver at the time, and snagging a podium in Vegas and getting a top 5 in Mexico season 3. We're not living up to the same standards as Liam Martin Bradley presents the field with in SRC, all in throughout. Let me check the Twitch chat because I haven't checked that in a while. As Catlo Racing in chat saying that what are the opinions on SRC potentially being on iRacing? Not too sure. As Torno Mäkinen has been disqualified from qualifying for going the wrong way. That looks like a bug. I don't know what's happened there. Was he doing donuts, or is that some sort of bug? I'm going to check the Discord chat because I think that could be a bug. We'll see if Torno says about that or not, or if he has just disqualified himself from qualifying. That is very peculiar. Meanwhile, Vettel then takes pole by... Oh, look, they are going backwards as Vettel goes and disqualifies himself as well. So 2 disqualifications. That means that gap, that is about... What, 9 thousandths of a second. That is gone now. As there's people no ruling everywhere, I reckon. They've all gone rogue. It looks that way anyway. Meanwhile, Mr. Miko, who's going the right way, and although this is F125, this track is not one of the reverse tracks, if I'm not mistaken. Meanwhile, the 95 V-Carb goes over the line. Mr. Miko goes into the top 3 here in qualifying. So Tom Robotham and Torno Mäkinen both out of the session. Tom Robotham will be AMR Vettel, and Torno Mäkinen will be FVR Boba. The men who are in 10th and 10th and 12th, 11th and 12th. Finally got that one out of where it needs to be. Anyway, into the pits comes Tristan. Into the pits behind him comes the defending champion. Meanwhile, the Alpine struggling for grip on the exit of the last corner. He also pits. Oliver Beckett, he's also going to pit. He's also got an invalidated lap, I'm pretty sure. So he's either going to pit or start another lap, which I reckon the The latter is not so possible, and I would be right in thinking that 2 tenths up on his lap is Aaron Walling. And yeah, so Aaron Walling's the only one on the track in that Ollie Behrman helmet who's actually on a proper push lap. The man in the Toyota Haas car, who had a great battle in Season 4 Bahrain, season opener of that particular season of SRC. And where I had a collision with Oliver Sloan that completely took him out of contention. Heading through the last corner with Aaron Walling. Can he do what he did in Season 4 in Tier 2, or can he do better? He's done pretty much the same. He started P7 in Season 4 Tier 2, if I'm not mistaken. And he has started there now as well. He's starting there now for Season 9 Tier 1. So Aaron Walling coming out of Turn 2. The former Tier 2 driver in the number 9 as Liam Martin Bradley calls it a day for qualifying. Interesting, he's 2 tenths ahead of Mika. Do we reckon Mika will be able to take Liam Martin Bradley? Or do we reckon that any other cars can take Liam Martin Bradley? I doubt anyone could take the Mercedes car of Nico unless he starts driving backwards like his teammate does. And yeah, well, Aaron Walling, he looked a little bit squirrely out of that corner. We all warm up then to the last few laps here in qualifying for SRC Season 9, the third race of this particular season. Defending champion Liam Martin Bradley has retired, and we head up the hill into turn 13. We have a yellow flag to someone who's run out of fuel. And Aaron Walling, that is a very peculiar situation. One of the Aston Martin getting out of the way of the Haas, who just started to run out of fuel as he let him by. Very comical. Meanwhile, that Aston Martin will be the Aston Martin of Callum Patterson in the number 89 Aston Martin car, who heads over the line. It says he's 1.6 seconds up on his lap. I doubt that. Anyway, heading up into turn 1. He's done a 29.8 so far. He's heading through the first 3 corners through this complex. Keeps it nice and straight down the University straight into turn 4 in the Aston Martin AMR 25, and round turn 4 he doesn't kick the rear end out. He's handling that car like a hot knife through butter at the moment. It's cutting through this track like that, and it's really playing out for him as he heads out of turn 8 into turn 9 and 10, the very twisty section, the section that just feels like a downward spiral. Luckily the lap hasn't taken a downward spiral through that, as he is halfway through the lap now as he goes down the support paddock, the support start finish straight, and through the S of Sakia, which then comes into turn 13, which then links back up to the short circuit of Bahrain, or the outer circuit of Bahrain, heading into the last corner on the racetrack. And he does take that very nicely. Callum Patterson, can he go up the order? So, Callum Patterson, Aston Martin, P7, replaces Aaron Walling at P7 and goes just 3 tenths behind Arax in the number 77 car, the Red Bull car. And he's now got yellow flags almost immediately in that 89 Aston Martin. Meanwhile, when the Mercedes are coming over the line, that will be Nico, who's half a second up on his lap and takes pole position with a 1:26.7. That is just under a second quicker than Liam Martin Bradley, the retired Liam Martin Bradley. Behind, meanwhile, Oliver Beckett 6 tenths up in his lap. That will put him well ahead of Regaleko, and he might even put him ahead of Aaron Walling. It does not. P9 for Oliver Beckett. And he goes into turn 1 as the man in 9th ahead of Regalekon, who is actually coming through the last corner and going quicker. So that P9 for Oliver Beckett might be short-lived, as the other man with the number 11 in his gamer tag he goes quicker, but he doesn't improve his position. One of the Williams of Tristan goes ahead of Dents in the Alpine. Meanwhile, the Mr. Mika in the V-Carb goes 99 thousandths up on his lap so far. There's a Red Bull doing well, that was interesting. As meanwhile, Dents goes over the line and goes a tenth quicker. Doesn't get ahead of Tristan though. Goes about a tenth or just under a tenth behind him. Meanwhile, one of the Aston Martins low on fuel, going back to the pits. And I think that'll be the end of qualifying here in Bahrain. A pretty frantic session for them all, as into the pits to end the session comes Callum Patterson, and we head on to the race here in Bahrain for SRC.